There's a kind of silence that doesn't come from peace. It comes from exhaustion, from having explained your pain one too many times. They smile, they function, they even laugh sometimes. But beneath it, something whispers. Please notice. We live in a world fluent in noise, where people announce their joy, but hide their need. And the ones who need help the most often say the least. They don't cry for rescue. They hope to be understood without translation. It isn't weakness. It's a deeply human wish, the desire to be saved without asking. The quiet cry. There's a type of sadness that never shows itself in tears. It breathes quietly through polite smiles and unfinished sentences. You've seen it in the friend who says they're just tired, in the stranger who stares too long at nothing, in the person who changes the subject when you ask how they've been. This isn't the sadness that screams for help. It's the kind that hopes to be found without making a sound. People who carry this silence have learned something over time, that speaking often changes nothing, and sometimes it makes things worse. They've seen how confession turns into discomfort, how pain becomes a topic others try to tidy away. So they speak less, smile more, and begin the ritual of appearing okay. They grow fluent in subtlety. When they say, "I'm fine," it isn't a lie. It's a translation. It means I'm surviving. Please don't make me explain how the world rewards composure. Society calls it strength, the ability to handle things, but no one asks what that strength costs. It starts in small moments. A child cries, and no one comes, or someone comes with irritation instead of comfort. The lesson lands. Your pain is inconvenient. So the child learns to hold it in, to soothe themselves, to shrink their needs into something manageable. And when they grow up, they don't stop needing care. They just stop believing it's safe to ask for it. The adult version becomes dependable, the calm one in chaos, the giver, never the receiver. When it's their turn, their throat closes around the word help, so they wait for someone to notice, someone who sees through the humor, through the mask, someone who doesn't need the alarm to go off before realizing the house is burning inside. But most people don't see it, not because they don't care, but because the quiet ones hide too well. Their sadness is curated, softened for social comfort. They show just enough to appear human, never enough to seem broken. And so the quiet cry continues. Not a scream, not a sob, just a soft echo, disguised as composure. Where it begins, every pattern starts somewhere. Before silence became armor, there was a child simply wanting to be held. It begins in ordinary rooms, a kitchen table, a hallway, a schoolyard. Each space becomes a classroom for emotional survival. A child cries, and here's your fine. A child reaches and feels no warmth. So they learn, if you stay quiet, you hurt less. Silence becomes currency, traded for peace, for approval, for love. Each swallowed need earns acceptance and costs connection. They make an unspoken vow. Don't ask, don't need, don't expect. By adulthood, it sounds like strength. You're so mature. You never complain. But beneath the praise, there's loneliness. Even self-reliant people remember what it felt like to hope, to wait for footsteps down the hallway, to believe someone might notice the trembling in their voice. That hope doesn't die, it hides. It shows up later, in overwork, in caretaking, in chasing unavailable love. Each act says the same thing. Please care for me, but don't make me ask. It's not cruelty that creates this. Often it's inheritance. Parents who equated silence with strength, love with obedience. So children learn to stay small enough to be kept. Years later, when someone finally offers care, it feels foreign. They wait for the catch. Their body doesn't register safety. It registers risk. And so, they retreat politely, smiling, saying, "I'm fine," to her, repeating the lesson learned long ago. It's safer to endure than to need. The psychology of silence. Silence is not emptiness. It's a language, one the brain speaks when words feel dangerous. Each ignored plea, each dismissed emotion, wires a small alarm inside. Don't do that again. So when pain returns, the lips stay closed. The limbic system remembers everything, not as stories, as sensations, tight chest, shaky breath. The body flinches at the thought of exposure. Calmness becomes camouflage. It looks like peace, but it's restraint, still water that hides the storm. In psychology, this is avoidant coping. When early emotional bids are denied, the mind learns self-containment. Don't reach out, it whispers. Regulate alone. It earns respect and costs connection. Inside, the emotions continue to exist, but lose their voice. The person becomes an archive, perfectly organized, never opened. Silence offers control. If you speak, your truth can be misunderstood. But silence belongs entirely to you. It's safer, but lonelier. The armor hardens. It keeps pain in and people out. Some are drawn to expressive souls. Those who cry easily, love loudly. They hover nearby, fascinated and afraid. They want that freedom, but the old rule whispers, don't be too much. This is learned inaccessibility. The belief that your inner world doesn't deserve space in someone else's, so they long for telepathic love. Someone who hears what isn't said, but no one can rescue what they're not allowed to approach. Silence protects and imprisons. The inner conflict. They live in two worlds, one that craves to be known and one that fears it. It's not dishonesty, it's survival. They want to be seen. They want rest from performing strength. But rest requires trust, and trust requires exposure. So they hover at the door, one hand reaching out, the other keeping the latch closed. Each time someone gets close, fear rises. Fear of being pitied, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being too much. So they pull back, gracefully, invisibly. They joke, they deflect, they disappear. I want to be loved, but love will hurt me. The mind whispers both and believes them equally. Some chase distant partners because distance feels safe. Some drown in work because busyness silences longing. Some become perfectionists because flawlessness feels like control. But perfection is silence in disguise. They test people quietly. They withdraw, waiting to see who follows. They act fine, hoping someone sees through it. And when no one does, the disappointment confirms the prophecy. No one stays. They forget. People can't rescue what they don't know is sinking. They feel guilty for the silence. They know others can't read minds, but asking still feels humiliating. So they help others instead. They listen, they carry, they soothe. They become everyone's calm and no one's storm. They are loved for their strength, but unseen in their softness. They don't want fixing. They just want someone to say, "I see it. You don't have to be fine with me." Always halfway to confession, always halfway to home. The moment of realization. Realizations don't crash. They arrive quietly, during chores, during silence, during the long drive home, and suddenly the truth surfaces. I have been asking for help without speaking. The first feeling isn't relief, it's grief. Grief for every time you smiled instead of asked. For every moment you were invisible by design. You see it all. The times you waited to be noticed and weren't. The times you rejected kindness because it felt foreign. The wall you built for safety, what became your isolation. Psychologists call it cognitive awakening. When the protector part of you steps into the light and says, "This is who I've been." It's humbling, it's freeing, and it hurts. You see love that was offered but missed, help that was given but deflected. You realize you weren't unseen, you were unseeable. Awareness changes everything. The body learns a new truth. Silence isn't safety. Presence is. In that quiet awareness, you finally breathe. No one failed to save you. They simply couldn't see through the armor you wore too well. Maybe the one meant to notice you was you. Learning to be seen. Healing doesn't make noise. It arrives softly. In small acts of honesty, a sigh you don't hide, a truth you say without flinching, a message you send without rehearsing. At first, honesty feels dangerous. The old alarms ring, but the new self whispers, "Let's try." You let someone see you, just a little. The shake in your voice, the hesitation in your smile, and the world doesn't collapse. You learn. Being seen isn't exposure, it's trust. Each safe conversation rewires the nervous system. Each gentle moment teaches the body need equals human. You stop seeking a savior. You begin allowing witnesses, because being saved was never about rescue. It was about allowing someone to stay. You find safety in small exchanges, a calm presence, a patient silence, a soft, "I understand." They're not dramatic rescues. They're quiet revolutions. And one day, you meet your own eyes in the mirror and see present, not perfection. The guard within you finally rests, and the self beneath it finally breathes. The soft closure. Not every story ends with resolution. Some simply exhale. The desire to be saved doesn't disappear. It transforms. Healing was never about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming reachable. Some days, the silence returns. You catch yourself withdrawing, But now you notice, you breathe, you forgive, you thank the silence for keeping you alive, and you let it rest because you see it now. You were never waiting for someone else. You were waiting for yourself to arrive. Integration means you no longer split into strong and broken. You can hold both. You can remember pain without living in it. You can ask for help without shame. And when someone holds the door a little longer or texts thinking of you, you feel it. You let it in. You are no longer invisible, not because they changed, but because you did. You stopped shrinking. You stopped waiting to be saved. You started living. You never needed to be saved from yourself, only to yourself, to the part that sees with warmth, to the part that listens without judgment, to the part that whispers, "You're safe now." And if one day the silence visits again, sit with it. It's not emptiness anymore. It's space. Space where connection can live. Space where words can return. Space where you can finally say, "I'm still learning to be seen." And that's okay. Because the mind doesn't need fixing. It just needs to be heard.